Smile, pretty. Trixie, Christmas.
Christmas.
Oh boy, that's a good one. Well, happy birthday, Jesus, to everybody. Are we live on both platforms, Jamie?
Yeah.
I think we are live on both platforms. Lean over a little bit so everyone can look over there over our shoulder at who we have with us here. I don't, Jamie. I don't know if we're live on YouTube. I know we are on Facebook. Hey, Facebook friends and family.
Yeah, we're live.
I just don't see any comments coming up yet. So it always worries me. Now it is Christmas.
I was just gonna say,
And
I
so
think the
people
people
may
are
be,
probably like living their life.
yeah, living their life. What is that? What is that? Cheers. Happy birthday, Jesus.
Happy
Merry
birthday.
Christmas to you. Um, so yeah, so I'm a little so okay, it's good to see that Facebook is alive and well and we're rolling on Facebook. However, I don't know if we're rolling on YouTube. I don't see any.
YouTube's just a little slow. It's okay. There it
So
comes. There it comes.
you know what I
see a little
said?
bit.
What I said last time I was going live is that I feel like whenever you go live, it's kind of like inviting people to your birthday party, and you never know if it's gonna be a full house or if no one's gonna show up. And
It's my
so
party, and I
going,
guess I'll cry if I want
yeah,
to.
going live on Christmas Day. I knew it was going to be tough, but I do see some comments
Yeah.
coming by now. So it's great to see everybody. And as you can see behind us, we do have Trixie and our newest rescue.
Christmas laid down now.
And
She's already over it.
That's
She's
also
like,
Jamie's Christmas present. I don't know why she can't be a normal girl and like a jewelry or flowers or a blender. Sheesh. That'd be a lot easier than what we're going through right now. But I'm kidding, obviously. No, it's always been a goal of ours to, or at least a goal of mine. Why are you trying to still show the dogs
no, I was
off?
just Trixie just made a move of like, I'm here.
Trixie's here. Yeah,
Trixie's being a
we're not
really
trying
good
to
girl.
overlook Trixie. Thank you, Jackie, in all caps. I love you guys with a lot of hearts. And so that's awesome. So Carol says, please go back and get Santa's. Carol, stop. We're trying, okay?
We are desperately trying to get Santa.
And it's not just us. The
No.
manager of the store, along with a lot of people who shop there on a regular basis or stop there for gas, groceries, whatever. I'm just got distracted by Jennifer right there. Lester, there's nothing normal about you. And I think that she means by my Christmas gifts.
Just no. I think
yeah, she does. Okay. It's the Christmas stuff.
Okay. You know, this Santa thing has been a huge challenge, but what's been really neat about it is what Lester's mentioned. The store manager has come out, other people who have watched us trying to capture him, and capture sounds like such a brutal word, like trying to rescue him.
It has to be, it's going to have to be a capture. Hey, no, I was going to upload something to StreamYard, but then it wouldn't be fair to the Facebook friends. So I will actually, so listen, I will just talk about one particular moment, the video that I showed you, where that Santa is so smart. Santa is so smart that he walked up into that trap, but he would not put his paws on the pressure plate,
brilliant,
which is what closes the door. So he was all the way up in there, putting his head over, eating out of the jackpot that I had placed. And I realized what he was doing. How smart is he? We have caught a number of dogs that have come to our property. We've caught boar hogs more than once. God, we've caught so many hogs in that trap that were coming onto our property that we had to relocate. The last one was when your mom was there a couple of years ago. That was a big one got in there, and he tore that thing apart.
Yeah.
And so no, I have the trap set out for Santa, and he has gone. And there's our sweet young lady. Hey, baby.
Christmas.
Oh my goodness! Don't neglect Trixie right there, baby.
Look, she's got
we're gonna crisscross our hands here. We got here. You love Trixie for a minute, and I'll love on Christmas because no one thought it was possible. And talk about how tough that was to get her to like me.
You know, you can tell when an animal has been abused, but then you can really tell if it's been abused by a male or female or someone that looks like a certain someone.
Look, Jamie.
But
I know it's okay. It's okay. I'll just put her nose in there. She jumped up on me.
She has fallen in love, and someone else has fallen in love right back.
I don't want to, though. I don't want to love.
but she
I don't
is,
want love, Jamie. I just want to.
she's an incredible dog. Like I've rescued, Suki and Ritzy were rescues, Millie and Fiona were rescues, but all of them were puppies when they were rescued.
And none of them were rescued off the streets.
That's what I mean.
This
And
is a street dog.
none were
She's
rescued
a
off the
street
street
dog.
who'd had such a hard life. This is probably one of the
Sorry,
most. It's okay.
Sorry, babe. You're not in the video right now.
Most incredible things ever to watch evolve. Because I've never had an animal be so grateful for a bed.
I got two hands.
Or warmth or love and attention, and to show so much back. I don't know her history.
So does anyone have any idea what kind of dog she is? Because the one thing we did not ask the vet was, what kind of dog is she?
What is she? I mean, I think that she obviously has yellow lab in her, but there's other things because she's not very big. She's not lab big.
No.
She's
and she's 3 years old. She should be full grown by now.
Yeah. She actually is very close to the size of Ritzy when they're side by side.
Yeah. And someone says lab mix. So I think so, obviously lab, but lab in what?
Yeah.
Because Jamie actually thought there might be a little bit of pit in her.
Just because of her head, the shape of her head, she might have a little pit. I mean, like, who knows? I just thought, I don't know.
So a lot of folks are giving us pointers on how to catch the other dog who we're calling Santa. But I will say what was scary was when we had our extremely cold weather, he did go somewhere else.
Yeah, we couldn't find him.
No, and then I thought someone else had rescued him, hopefully, but he is back now that it's warmed up. And let's talk about that real fast. I know we want to focus on Christmas.
No, absolutely. It's important. It's a question everybody has. It's something that weighs heavy on our minds every single day as well.
About what, weather?
No,
Here, I'll turn
about Santa.
No, I was just going to say that our weather has warmed up a little bit. And so I think that we have made it past the worst of this winter blast, this Arctic blast.
I don't want so much in my head.
And I think that we're good. So it's still getting below freezing at night.
We have 3 more nights of freezing ahead of us.
But during the day, we're getting, today it's almost 50. What does that tell you? It went from
what a 20, weird twist.
Yeah, from 25 overnight to 50. That's 25 degrees of an increase in temperature, which is crazy. But hey, we'll take it. The one thing that I'm embarrassed about is Jamie told me, before you come over to Longhorn Lester's, get out there and take those horse blankets off of Voodoo and Bucky's.
Yeah, because it's warm enough today. They're going to sweat.
Oh, yeah. They can't sweat. That's bad if you let a horse sweat in one of their blankets. Because what will happen is tonight, when it drops below freezing again, those blankets will have that moisture inside.
Yeah, no good.
And that will put a layer of moisture on them, which is not good. It could lead to pneumonia. So guess who I call? Sister Kim. Sister Kim to the rescue. Kim, get over there and take off them horse blankets, please. And Kim's always willing to do whatever you need her to do. So Kim's off to help us with our horse blankets. So go ahead and talk about Santa.
Well, he's so skittish that the closest that I got was really in that video to him, to me, with the hot dogs. And even then, like, if I make any sudden movements, he's gone. And I know that I think he's had a more rough life than Christmas has. He's just he won't come, within 30 feet of men at all. And we've tried the snare, we've tried trapping, but he's smart as well. And it's going to take a lot of resources, and we're not going to stop. But
so I did tell Jamie this one idea, but she said no to. So I have on my boat, I have a casting net that you may have seen. We've both used it to cast. You can throw that casting net off into the lake to catch little minnows or shad or whatever kind of bait you want to use. And I told her we could bring that casting net and just cast it over that dog. The only problem is Jamie's scared it's going to get all, it's going to just torment him.
Yeah,
he's going to get tangled up in it. And then if he's snapping and biting at us, how do we get him untangled from it? Because it's going to tangle.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. The other thing is that since Christmas left, he has recruited new friends as well. So like, he's replaced Christmas. So he has new friends. Okay. And it's a never ending battle as well. So like I feel
Oh, Christy McPherson did not watch the video. She's asking me why we don't use a live trap. Christy McPherson, I'm calling you out, girl. Calling you
better
out.
go watch the video.
Hey, she wasn't the only one, though. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think it was a good talking point right there. A lot of people this morning on the Facebook video watched about what I suspected, about 3 to 5 minutes. We have an average of 6 minutes watch time. What does that tell you? And a lot of people were asking the most ridiculous questions that could have been answered if they had just watched a little bit more of the video. There were a lot that were so mad at me for not rescuing that second dog. And I'm like, I tried. I didn't reply to everybody because it was ridiculous how many people were saying how ridiculous or how horrible of a man I am for not trying to rescue the second dog. And I'm like, but I did. I spent like 8 minutes of video time talking about our attempts to rescue Santa. That's what I cannot get any licks. This girl will not lick me for nothing. But she loves Jamie. She has picked her. You want to trade spots with me so she can love on you while
she's enjoying you.
Okay. But and then so we did use the live trap, and that was the only kind of trap that we thought we would use. The snare, you can't get anywhere close to with a snare. And so it's a him.
It's a him.
Yeah, Christmas Santa is a him.
Yeah, and Santa's still intact as well, which made us nervous. I mean, not just because of Santa, but Christmas is clearly not fixed, so we were very nervous about that. The vet doesn't think she's pregnant. Thinks that she's just at the.
Y'all stop being mean to each other. I'm not mad if you don't watch the videos, but you really can't make a comment on a video asking a question or being mean to somebody if you didn't watch it all. That's all I'm trying to say. I know you're busy. It's Christmas Day, for Christ's sake. Oh,
for Pete's sake.
For Pete's sake. For Pete's sake. Yes, and I know you guys are busy today. I don't blame you for watching it later, but you just can't be mean to me until you watched it. Then you can be mean if you don't like what you see, but you got to at least watch it first.
Yeah. So it's hard because there's also so much traffic up there that they're like hyper aware. And even when we would, Lester was trying to get Christmas before he brought me up there. She's so hyper conscious because they're trying not to get hit. They've been begging for food. They've been living there for a very long time. What's sad to me is how many people walked past them every single day and saw this sweet dog who, I don't know. I just think it's been so long since the first time that I encountered her. And every time that I would go back, she would not be there or, and we looked for a month after that. And then I just randomly was there last week and there she was. And that was it. That was Lester kept asking me you have to tell me what you went for Christmas. You have to tell me what you went for Christmas.
Yeah, well, every year, I try to find something creative, but I listen to her. I start listening around November.
Yeah, that's about it.
I start listening around November to what she's been talking about and stuff. And then I start, now she's probably dropping hints on purpose. But this year, she never dropped any hints besides kept talking about this darn dog that lived in front of the Valero. And so what was crazy, though, was she spent most of her time in front of the Valero.
Yeah.
But then when we went to look for her, many times she wasn't there. And so we drove around that neighborhood. We stopped at all the little taquerias. If you don't know what that is, that's a side of the road, mostly side of the road trailer or bus taco stand where they make delicious tacos. And we have gained a lot of weight because of all the taquerias in our neighborhood.
Yep.
So we drove by all the taquerias thinking that might be a good place to go to pick up scraps, or people may toss you something here or there. We went by the washateria where people often hang out. And we just couldn't find her or Santa anywhere. But then she'd just show up at the store. And so that's where we finally caught her and then still trying to catch him.
Yeah.
But
the vet says that she's had a couple of litters of puppies already, which is why her teeth look like that. And but she's not freshly nursing or anything like that. So next step is to get her spayed. She is heartworm positive, so we're starting medication on that, but I wanted her to like get settled in a little bit before we just start medicating her and just keeping her on lockdown, because heartworm treatment means no activity whatsoever. And you're going to think this is so crazy, but like the first couple of days, she wouldn't get off of her bed. Like she was so grateful for her bed that that's just where she wanted to be. She was happy. She would get up to eat. She would do all, but she would just keep going back to her bed. So we're like slowly moving past that point.
Well, I hate to interject, but I'm really hoping that you're going to finally get to the main point of this entire video with how smart of an idea Lester had, Trixie, by putting her with Trixie.
Yeah,
go ahead.
That's where I was going
with
this.
Oh, you were? Okay, I'll let you talk. I'll just be quiet.
So Trixie has been, I don't know, a little bit more reserved lately.
Trixie has a lot of bad habits, though.
And she has bad habits, especially at I'm a Survivor. And we've been staying at I'm a Survivor, and it's been a little bit of an adjustment. I'll just say that, because Trixie's bad habits include feathered animals in her mouth and things like that. So Lester's like, hey, why don't we see how Christmas does with Trixie at Longhorn Lester's? Because Trixie does really well at Longhorn Lester's. So we did. And it turned out to be this magical connection where it gave Christmas confidence.
Yep.
And Trixie's a little bit taller than her, but they play very similarly. And they have a very similar demeanor of being guardish, but not, not how do I say that? Like they're listening and they're on guard, but they're
just reserved.
Yeah.
And then but Trixie has brought her out of her shell.
Big time.
Her shell for the first 3 or 4 days was just nothing but laying on that blanket. She needed that bed. She had to have that bed. That was her security. And you had to literally put a leash around her neck to get her off the bed, even to walk her out to
use the restroom.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would have to invite her to use, like, when we open the door at our house, that means the dogs can go out. I don't have to say, come on, let's go outside. But for Christmas, I would have to invite her, and I would have to put the leash on her and not pull her or anything like that, but she would have to be invited to go through the door. And I just thought that was so crazy for a dog who's lived in the streets to feel like she needed an invitation to come out of the camper or to come out of the garage, that type of thing, or to come through a gate even. Like, she's so incredibly reserved, but well behaved at the same time. She has not messed in the house. She has not chewed on a thing. I don't know why we haven't rescued dogs in the past if this is what it's like. Because
no, we have a lot of dogs already.
No, we have no more room for dogs. Trust me, I know.
And then we can't rescue because we fall in love with them. And if we love them, we can't send them off to some other rescue.
I know. We would end up having 500 dogs. It would be bad. But my thing is like, she just like fit in perfectly with Trixie. Like they play well together. They eat well together. They follow us everywhere. So like Trixie has become Lester's shadow. I will tell you that Christmas has become my shadow. And in a weird way, this sounds really, really weird.
Oh boy, she's going to fill the void of you-know-who.
She is like Sookie.
All right.
If I go through a gate, this dog will wait for me at the gate, no matter what else is going on. If Trixie's off with Lester, if there's other fun things happening, that dog sits at the gate and waits for me to finish whatever I'm doing. How? I don't... Obviously, I've spent a week with her now, and I didn't train her for these things. I didn't coach her and be like, you sit. I don't even say those things. She just does.
Yeah, so our initial... we were going to rescue her, obviously, and get her fixed and checked out, and all that you have to do with the vet, hopefully tame her down, and then send her on to someone who needed a good home. We were going to ask Miss Pat, Mr. David over here. We were going to ask our other neighbors on the other side. We have Kenny, we were going to find her a good home.
The point was to rescue her from her situation, and then Santa was with her, and then it was kind of like, hey, there's people that we know personally that would benefit from 2 great dogs who, that type of thing. But then she kind of stole hearts in the fastest way. And
like I said in the video, it was easier when she was biting at me. because if she kept biting at me, then snapping at me, then I would have found it'd have been easier to find her another home.
But she does.
But there was this magical moment, which is another part of Christmas, that magical moment that we all can. Our best memories of Christmas, Jamie, are magical moments. Am I right?
It's true. It's very true. And she has been that. And I love her demeanor. I love that she like comes for revalidation every time that I use the restroom, or every time that, so, we've been staying apart because of the winter storm. Every time that he comes back over here, she's like so excited to see him and is seeking his like approval one more time.
Well, even right now, she keeps coming back for validation just to make sure I still love her. I'm still going to pet her. You're still here. We're not leaving you, baby. Okay. Trixie's over here sleeping behind me. Trixie's fine. I'm just loving her, so she doesn't get so jealous, because Trixie knows exactly what's going on here and she doesn't like it. Because when's been the last positive video about Trixie? Yeah.
Well, today. Trixie's been a huge blessing with all of this, and she and Christmas have become very connected.
Let's just hope that Trixie didn't teach her the joys of getting high off exhaust from the four-wheeler. That's
right.
We don't need that.
Let's hope that Christmas looks at her and is like, that looks dumb.
Yeah.
But no, Christmas and Trixie were snuggled up in Christmas shared her bed. That was a big deal.
Yeah, so it's really neat having Trixie here to kind of show her that it's safe and however dogs communicate.
Yeah.
And then I will also add that the name. I'm so sorry, because I normally pick out human names. I feel like it's easier to help an animal exude their human character traits when they have a human name. And I never thought we were going to keep this little girl. So I'm like, we'll call her Christmas. We've got to have a name. We'll just call her Christmas. Merry Christmas. That was easy and not cheap, y'all, because vet costs are not cheap and heartworm meds are not cheap. So don't think I was being cheap this year, because that wasn't cheap. And then, of course, we may still end up doing stuff with Santa, but I'm not going to say she was a cheap gift, but I don't really know if I like the name Christmas. So I said, can we call her Chrissy? But now Jimmy's like, it's too late. It's Christmas. It's Christmas. We're going to call her. I'm like,
she knows her name now.
I like human names though. Oh, someone's saying call her Chrissy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you then. I will. I'll call her Chrissy. We're both coughing like a bunch of sickos here. We're like a couple of sickos there.
I hear that it's going to be around for a little bit too. I'm a weekend. So
someone says call her Holly. That's funny. No, I can call her Chrissy. I think I can get by with Chrissy. But yeah, so that's the story of Christmas, y'all. That's the story of our Christmas. Besides that, it's going well. We had time with Xander last week. We've had Ellie come over a lot and help. Holy Pea-Pats, someone says. Yeah, that's a great name. Holy Pea-Pats. Yeah, so Ellie's been by every day pretty much and spent time with us helping out with stuff. Lex is here with us, so that's great having Lex. Now, a lot of y'all are asking about my mom, which means that I'm guessing you probably watch my dad's videos. And so my mom is she's down with COVID, but she's feeling fine. COVID affects different people different ways, and my mom is with COVID, and so we did not have any kind of large family gathering this year for Christmas. I think that we're going to instead wait and do it on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
But by then everything will be fine, we're hoping. But my mom is fine, for those who've been asking. So thank you for worrying about her and keeping her in your prayers.
Lester and I do not have COVID. We have some other fabulous funk.
Well, I didn't know I had anything. That was my first.
You had a cough.
That was my first cough right there for the entire day, and I'm hoping that it was just a random thing.
Just random air, lack of air, swallowed your spit wrong type of thing.
Anywho, so we hope that you guys are doing well. Can we talk about y'all for a little while? Let's find out what your favorite memories of Christmas are, because I watched something that I talked about in my video this morning. I hope this was not one of your talking points, but for a future video, but I knew you had saved it and I saw it in your saved list. Yeah. Whenever Jamie saves something as I'm a survivor, whenever I log in, it shows me the saved videos that Jamie saved.
Wonder which one we're going to talk about today.
No. It was one that I think is real powerful and so very true. And it talks about when you are a kid and you make your Christmas list, your wish list. They've traded spots. Now Trixie's come for validation, and Chrissy is behind us on the couch, lying in Trixie's warm spot. But when you're a kid and you make your Christmas list, you might show a little bit of disappointment when you don't get what you asked for. And sometimes kids from 5 and older can make a list that long, and they ask for crazy things sometimes, stuff that there's no way you can get. And as a parent, we sometimes feel let down that we don't give our kids what they asked for. But in all honesty, some things are just out of the budget or out of that, just not possible, And this lady in this video talked about how, as a parent, you can't help but feel upset when you see that look on your kids' faces. But there's not a kid out there who grows up to realize that the best gift of Christmas is family, the miracles of the magic of Christmas, and no one remembers the gift they did not get.
Right. It's the memories that are made.
It's the memories that are made.
And when you think about, when I think about Christmas growing up, and even Xander's growing up, I don't remember a thing that I couldn't get for him. And I know there's plenty of things that I couldn't get for him, but there's not one thing that I just sit here and stew on every single year. It's not that at all. It's the memories that were made over the holidays. It's the experiences and the time, the traditions that you hold. And I think that we've done a really good job of not only maintaining the ones that we love from our childhood, but also bringing new ones to our
well,
families.
And that's true. So Jamie and I, we already have what we started in these few years, are our very own Christmas traditions that our kids have gotten familiar with. And that's something that is ours and ours that we've created, and I love that our kids look forward to stuff. So now Trixie's getting impatient, and she's like, I'm ready to go out of here. Can someone let me out?
She's like, can we do chores? It's time for chores.
Yeah, it's time for chores.
Do you
want
to talk about one of you and my holiday traditions?
Denny's?
Yeah.
Denny's?
Yeah.
I didn't know you would. I thought you'd be embarrassed by that.
I'm not embarrassed by it.
But
I'm
like, that's something that I didn't want anyone to know about, because I'm kind of embarrassed about that.
I'm not embarrassed about it.
But I take Jamie to Christmas dinner every year at Denny's.
Number one, I count it as a blessing because I don't make Christmas dinner on Christmas because we never have a house full of kids on Christmas. And typically, other than this year, G has the big meal.
Yeah, my mom.
So Lester and I, after we do farm chores, typically have gone to Denny's. Because
they're open on Christmas.
I would say, though, that part of it also is that we like to pay a blessing forward to whoever waits on us, because they're having to work that day.
Yeah, we always try to give her at least a $25 tip. Now,
yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but my dad, can I talk about this on videos? It's funny how tipping works. So most of everyone knows that you should tip, is it between 8 and 12 or 15% of what your bill comes to, right? So tipping is based on the amount of
in the U.S. That's not a thing.
I didn't know that.
It's only in the U.S.
But growing up, I don't think anyone ever knew that in my family. So my dad always put down $2, just $2, no matter where we went. If there was a waitress or a waiter, $2, and that could have been an entire family of 6. They get $2, or just him and I, or him and my mom, $2. And so when I got to be old enough to start going out, someone says 20%. So I don't even know what the new rate was. But it wasn't until I started waiting tables, I became a waiter, and I found out that they're going to tax the waiter 20 or 8% of whatever the tickets you rang up to be.
Yeah.
So if you don't make at least 8%, you're getting taxed on money you never made.
Yeah.
And so I learned a lot from waiting tables when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. And now Jamie and I, we always make sure that we tip well if we can. There's times, but if we don't have a tip, then we'll go fast food. She is scratching on everything. Should I let them out for a little bit?
She's okay now.
But no, but we always try to make sure that we pay a blessing forward this time of year, especially so anyone has to work on, Christmas Day, especially.
Well, the other thing that happened last Christmas was really special. So we walked in and you look around the room and sometimes there's couples like us or multiple people, but there was a woman who was sitting by herself. Do you remember this?
Yeah, and we sat with her.
We did.
We invited her to sit with us.
We invited
actually.
her to sit with us.
And she joined us.
And she joined us and we had a conversation with a total stranger over Christmas and I was so emotionally moved and so was she, because it was her first Christmas alone. Her husband had just passed.
Lost her husband. I remember that. Yeah.
And here she was taking herself out to dinner and was pretty emotional. And we had no idea. We just saw a lady there by herself. And I think that was like the greatest Christmas gift ever to us, not to her. It was to us that we could share time and conversation and stories with a total stranger on a day where someone might have needed it.
I never thought we'd be talking about tips on a video, but everyone from Facebook and YouTube are all saying it's between 18 and 20%, depending on the service. I had no idea. And now I'm thinking, do I tip enough now? We don't go out hardly ever.
I always make sure you tip enough.
Okay.
I take care of you, I promise.
Yeah, we don't really go out where you got to tip very often. We do a lot of take home, things we bring home. Take out, they call it.
Often. I
mean, Jamie cooks.
I cook every day, but there are times where we do fast food or pick up a to go thing. But Christmas Denny's dinner is our tradition every year.
And then we have to be reminded to let everyone know, this person has said this like 4 or 5 times, that servers only make between $4 and $5 an hour, which seems illegal. Like that's below the minimum wage. But because they're a tipped employee, they expect they'll make at least that much more to make up for that. So it makes it legal. It's a very
weird American thing. I know there's a lot of controversy over that.
Some countries don't tip or what? I don't get it.
So if you've ever watched people from like the UK or anything like that, they think that it is the strangest. Like, what do you mean you don't make a full wage? What do you mean you have to that type of thing? So like that's a very
so Europeans get a full wage and they don't tip. I had no idea.
From what I understand.
Well, anyone from the UK who can fill us in, we'd love to talk about that. I don't know what else we're going to talk about for the next 20 minutes. I'm kidding. We can always find stuff to talk about.
No, but I think
Kathy says her and her husband love Denny's. That's good.
It's the only time that we actually go there all year.
So see how much Jamie knows about me. So what do I always get at Denny's no matter what time of day? What do I always get at Denny's no matter what?
Slam.
Yo, you remembered that.
Well, yeah.
Yes, the Grand Slam.
I thought that's what I was like, wait, what am I not thinking of?
It's like this huge breakfast. I don't care if they'll cook breakfast at all times of the day. In Sweden, you only tip if you want to. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not expected everywhere else. That's what I understood.
Oh, okay. I had no idea. Yeah, the Grand Slam is what I get at Denny's. I don't know why we're talking about what I normally eat at Denny's on a live video. I don't. Poor people. They've joined us live for something. Jamie's going to take their breath away, and we're talking about.
Not me. I make it weird. I'll talk about my orders when we go to a restaurant. I don't know. It has to be whatever I'm in the mood for. And sometimes that is like, I'll have a pancake and then I want a salad. Unless there's like, you have the strangest order patterns. I'm like, if I could just get like, seriously, one pancake to have a bite of, it would fulfill all of my needs of wanting, like those restaurants that have small plates or tapas that you can order like 3 things and they're all like bite size. That is my perfect restaurant. I just want a bite of every little thing and try it, and then I'll be full.
And unfortunately, that means those little bites come off of my plate, and I don't like doing that.
I mean, like to order opposite of what he does, so that I can have a little bit.
Yeah, no. When I see my Grand Slam come out, I want all of my pancake. I want my eggs. I want my hash browns, my bacon. I don't want to give you half of my bacon. I don't want to break my sausage off in half and give you half of it. I don't want to do that. And that's what you think that. Well, we're a couple, and I just want all of my food. If you want a pancake, order a side pancake.
Yeah, so what I've learned is just order whatever I want to eat and then just give it to him whenever
I've taken my bite. That's a whole lot better idea. Besides the salad, I'm not eating half of her salad.
Will not touch
There's
lettuce.
No way. So
Lester has like a sphere of lettuce or anything that's vegetable like that might be healthy.
I'm shocked, Jamie. We're hearing from Denmark, from Australia, and you were right, Netherlands. All of these countries are saying that tipping is not expected, it's just appreciated. Bless you. So tipping is not expected, but it is appreciated. So I guess their servers make a regular.
Somebody just said, I didn't know anybody went to Denny's sober.
Now there were days.
There were days in
But
our time.
in Texas, you go to Whataburger. Those 2-3 a.m. runs are to Whataburger.
In Illinois, we had tiny little hole in the wall places that they would only have a midnight breakfast. That was their business, was literally opening from midnight to 5 a.m. for after drinking hours. Basically, that was their entire business.
So in Japan, tipping is considered an insult. I don't understand, but that would, who does not want a little extra money, a little side money? Gosh, I can't imagine that. So you had little hole in the walls where y'all would go when y'all were
There's
y'all
a place
drinking.
called Valvo's. There was a place called oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of this, Dutchman's or something like that.
Waffle House, someone says.
Oh yeah, Waffle House is big across the U.S. They're open 24 hours. Yeah. We
Yeah.
didn't have any of that close to. We didn't have any like name brand restaurants. I actually grew up in a county that had no commercial restaurant, no chain restaurants until I was a senior in high school, and that's whenever we got a McDonald's.
All right, so I'm trying to get back on the subject of your favorite childhood memories from Christmas.
Sorry, I forgot.
And
about
so
that.
I want you to think about it for a minute. I'll talk about mine, and then I would like to share some of y'all's. If y'all have a childhood memory, or maybe not childhood, but just a Christmas memory, if you would put it here, I will. And if I can read it in time, I would love to talk about it. But and that doesn't matter if you're Facebook or YouTube. With Jamie here, she can see that small print, so she can read and I can read. But do you happen to remember yours?
I want to hear yours first.
Okay, well, it wasn't really maybe that big of a memory to everybody in the Morrow family, but to me it was huge because Mom got all of us kids matching pajamas. And so she had them laid out now, of course, that was Santa's brought them. It wasn't my mom. It was Santa really did come and deliver all these pajamas. And so all of us woke up that morning, and when we come down, there was all of these pajamas laid out, and it was kind of had the top and bottom.
Oh.
So the little comfy pants, the little comfy pajama bottoms, along with a little top that you would actually button up. And so all of us kids, I don't know why I have that memory. All of us kids put our pajamas on to continue opening all of our gifts. And I remember us all sitting around. This was the old house before we so if you know Mom and Dad's house, that house is actually the newer house. We had our original house burned down when I was younger, but it was in our old house. And I'll tell you where we were at. I tell you about this room. We had this room that my dad built that had a tree growing up through it. I tell you that story?
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy. It was our living room, which was crazy. And there was an actual tree that grew up through our living room. My dad actually built this part of our house around a tree. And so if you're saying, what about the roots and what about the water? It was a huge tree, and it was the center of our room.
That's so awesome.
It is. It's awesome. And so the room had all glass. So it was almost an all glass outside, of course. However, Dad did the roof. I was young. I don't remember how he would have done the roof to have made it not leak. But I told you, I remember that when it would rain, you could actually see the water coming down the trunk of the tree.
So crazy.
But then there was the bench. My dad built a bench around the tree. So if it was raining, you wouldn't want to lean up against the tree. But there was no rain coming through. It wasn't going onto our floor. It would go right on down the tree trunk, right into the ground. And so that was a room of our house where we had our Christmas tree. We spent a lot of time. And someone goes, is the tree still there? No, our home caught on fire. And of course, that tree would have died in that fire. We ended up having to have our home, what was left of it, bulldozed and then buried. But that tree was one of the casualties of that fire, along with pretty much everything else from our childhood. And most of our pictures and all that stuff.
I saw a guy named Jeff on Facebook who said in 1990 he was being dropped off in Saudi Arabia on Christmas Day to prepare for Desert Storm.
Wow, Jeff.
What a memory.
What a memory. And thank you for your service. I don't want to get off track. Let's keep talking about Christmas memories. But I watched a movie, Jeff. You said Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
So, Jeff, I'm watching a movie now. I think it was on Hulu, Jamie. And I think it was called Retrograde. And it was about the entire withdrawal from Afghanistan and how much time was put into it, or how much lack of time, depending on who you're asking. And so a lot of folks talk about the 20 years that we spent there and what little we accomplished. And so it's just a really powerful and very impactful movie. And it makes me, when I hear about veterans who served during the Afghanistan and in Iraq, I can't help but just wonder about how you guys feel about how all of that was handled. And I don't want to distract from the Christmas memories right now, but thank you for your service. And I would love for you to email if you can and talk more about that with me, because I would love to chit chat with you. All right, keep going.
Okay. So my favorite Christmas memory is actually not one. It's a memory of my grandma telling a story. So my grandma grew up very poor as well and had 6 siblings. Her mom passed away when she was 10, giving birth to her youngest sister. And the Christmas right before that happened was the first time that they ever actually had gifts at Christmas. And it was her favorite Christmas memory. And their gifts were a few pieces of fruit, and they all got a piece of candy that year. And I just think to myself, like, what a difference in the world, and what a difference it is for our kids who are, make a Christmas list with Xboxes and iPhones and all these things. And to think about the people 2 generations ago from us that had so very little, yet were so happy and so thrilled, and just what a difference it is. So I think about that all the time. About, she talks about they lived in a 1-room house, and that she remembered her dad. She saw her dad getting up to put an extra I can't remember if it was log or coal on the fire, to be honest with you. And she saw him sneak things into the stockings that they had hung over the fireplace. And she just thought it was, she thought she was dreaming that whenever it happened. And when she woke up and they all got a few pieces of fruit and candy, it was like the greatest thing ever. So
we have a veteran who says that they were also in the Gulf War, and they had Santa rappel from a helicopter down to surprise all of them, which that sounds really neat. Wow. What a memory. And so bless you, and bless a lot of veterans are chiming in. Now, there's a lot of talk about what I got distracted, Jamie. I got distracted. I squirreled it. And now a lot of folks are telling us their opinions on the whole Iraq and Afghanistan. And I'm sorry. That's another live, y'all. We got to say that for another time. But here we go. In kindergarten, I got a mink. What is that, Jamie? I can't have it. In kindergarten, I got a mink stole. What's that? Mom let me wear to school. What's a stole? Maybe I vividly remember one of those things that goes strutting down the hall in single file with my class. The office lady smiled at me. I felt so pretty.
I don't know if it's that thing that goes over your hands, like the round thing, or if it's the thing that goes. I don't know which one of those two things that it is.
Here's someone talks about their grandmother. Where's that one? Oh no, I missed it. I didn't catch it in time. I'm sorry. I remember when I was a child, my dad did snow plowing for his job. Every Christmas, my birthday, he would be called to work to plow the streets. Darn it. I would, as a child, be so upset, but now I understand. Yeah, that's one thing that I'm having to go through with my kids on occasion, especially my younger son, Lex.
They said it.
Huh?
They said it's like a shawl around your neck.
So okay, right, a shawl. The first time, yeah. Okay. But no, sometimes Lex will want to play, and Dad has jobs and chores to do. So my playtime is usually after dark, when obviously farm chores are done. And he doesn't quite get that very much. I mean, he doesn't understand it's 4 o'clock. He wants to play a game. And a lot of times we play games online so we can play if he's with me or not. But also, Bud, you have to wait until, after dark because I'm doing my chores.
Yep.
And then a lot of folks are saying that they appreciate us coming live today because they find themselves alone. And I completely understand. Jamie and I also felt a little weird being alone.
Super weird,
these last several days, because even though we're together during the day, by night,
I felt like we were dating again. Like he goes to his house and I stay at mine, and in the mornings we're waking up going, so like, you coming here today, or am I coming there, or like, how's it? Do I get to see you? Like, we're making plans about how we're going to be able to see each other that day, and we're not dating. anymore. Like we, but at the same time, we have to stay at separate houses because of the freezing water, the cold for the animals, the care that needs to happen. We're still making every 3 hours. We've stretched it to every 3 hour rounds in the middle of the night.
Yep.
So I'm sick, and it is probably best that I have slept here alone. Well, not alone. I've had some furry company, of course.
A lady on Facebook says that her grandmother, all the way up until she was 100 years old when she passed, would put a quarter in an apple. I guess you just take the quarter and that would give it to all the grandkids and all the kids, and a quarter in an apple. You know what I've seen a lot of people doing at different events, Christmas parties and stuff like that, especially for kids. They're the little red Dixie cups or the little red cups, and they're putting them across the table, and they're putting different prizes under different ones. So it may be a $20 bill, a $5 bill, a quarter, or candies. She bite me in my face.
She want to bite you. She wants to give you a kiss.
I don't know if that was a kiss look, Jamie. I kind of felt the vibe of like,
it's not gonna bite you.
Anyway, so as the kids line up, and so you can they can do 3 passes each. And so each time the kids pass through, they pick up one red cup, and whatever is under there is their gift. Now, there are some red cups with nothing. So it makes it very random, and you pretty much just the luck of the draw, but you get 3 choices or 3 chances. It could be whatever chances you want to. And as you walk up, it's really fun to have these kids watching and like picking up that cup. And it might be something really awesome. It might not.
I saw one where people took 2 strips on the sides down their countertop and like laid things out in a line. So like it would be like a candy cane, a $1 bill, then it might be a $5 bill, then it might be a scratch off card or whatever. And they took a can of biscuits, and they would have to roll, like gently roll, and wherever it stopped, that's what they got what it was in line with. And the trickier parts were all the way, making it all the way to the end without going over. It looked like so much fun that I was like, I wanted to play that game with like you and me.
That sounds fun. I remember the dumbest thing that we ever did. I hope I don't offend anybody with this, but the dumbest thing that we ever did was, I think it was Daniel's wife, but my brother Dan, we call him Uncle Dan. That's Jake and Brienne's dad. Lou had this crazy idea she got from somebody at work, and they took this ball of aluminum foil. You know about this?
I know about it with saran wrap.
It might have been saran wrap, Jamie.
Where everything is like wrapped up, and it keeps getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, so there's a timer.
But did you have to wear oven mitts when you did it?
Yes, oven mitts.
Yeah.
And so all of the different things, like it could be lottery tickets or cash, it could be candy bar. And so it's all wrapped up in this giant ball of saran wrap. And you have to pass the mittens and the saran wrap ball around the table, and everyone begins to unwrap the best that you can using these stupid oven mitts. Where would you have played that at?
I am the
so it's been around for a while.
Game bringer to family events. You should know that by now.
My boss does that at his Christmas party for work. Anyway, I thought it was really hard, and I'm sitting there the whole time waiting for my turn. And when I finally got I thought, this is what's taking y'all so long. Just get into it. And so it's not as easy as what it sounds. It's really hard to get a grip on the saran wrap with those mittens, those mitts, or whatever you call them. Mm-hmm. And so, but it was every once in a while you would be able to unwrap it enough to get something out of it, and you felt so accomplished. And there were some at that table who never got anything because during their allotted 15 seconds, they couldn't get it open. They couldn't even get it going. Yeah, so we were at some point, we were using our teeth. This is all pre-COVID. Okay, this is pre-COVID when we could all share body fluids.
When you could still blow out candles on a cake and share the cake with everybody.
Yeah, but yeah, pre-COVID, we'd be biting into it and just trying to get into it any way we could. But we stopped doing that game because everyone was so angry.
My gosh!
It took hours. It took hours to get through it, Jamie. And then we were going to talk about other people's Christmases, not just ours. But I got to say this one last thing that we would do with these white elephant gifts. And my mom would always have a limit of no more than $10. So it could not be anything expensive, but it had to be under $10. But the dumb thing is, some people would go and do stuff like a bag of dog food, the small bag of dog food. But the thing is, people that were playing didn't always have a dog. So you'd open that gift, it'd be a bag of dog food. You're like, what the heck? And so you all know how that works. So someone else can steal your gift but after it's stolen the third time, it's froze. And so I can't tell you how many times I went to a white elephant party with my family and ended up with my own gift that I would actually buy because I needed it at the house. No one else would want it. So it worked out really great for me.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that happens, Jamie. That happens.
I have never come home with my own gift at White Elephant.
Oh, no, I did every year. Jumper cables. Those were always a great gift because I always got to keep them. I have more jumper cables than anybody in our family. I have to have a lot of jumper cables. What?
I know. I just always wondered why you had so many jumper cables.
Flashlights. You ever see all my flashlight collection? I have more flashlights than ever. What?
That's terrible.
They're $10 and they make great gifts.
So my grandma forgets the rules every year.
Someone calls those dirty Santas.
Yeah.
Vicky, that's funny. Dirty Santa.
Yeah, my grandma forgets the rules to that game every year. So we pretty much play that game, but the rules change every year about who can trade and what makes you be able to get it. And then we also play the left-right game. There's like this little paragraph that you read.
Yeah.
Everybody sits in a circle, and every time that in the story it says left or right, the gift goes that way, and whatever you end up with, you end up with.
Oh, that's cool.
So my tricks, we never opened our gifts though until the end of all that. So my trick was always to wrap whatever I bought in the prettiest, shiniest stuff and make it look like the prettiest package, no matter what was inside, so that people would want it. So maybe that would have been a better angle about your jumper cable.
Well, the thing is, I always wrap in aluminum foil, and that's just kind of an Uncle Lester kind of a thing. So all of my kids,
so everybody
and my
knows
nephews,
exactly what
they know exactly to avoid the gift in the aluminum foil, because that's going to be something that Lester wants at his house. So Lester buys whatever he wants for himself, and he usually takes it home. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. I'm reading some really neat stuff over here. A lot of people are talking about their grandmas and their grandmothers. And so let me ask you this, because this is kind of crazy, but why would that be? There's a few that talk about my mom or my dad, but I have a whole lot of my grandparents. A whole lot.
I think that goes back to like the root of traditions and the root of
isn't
memories.
that kind of scary though, that our parents were skipping that generation? Because I'm not saying all of our parents, but if everyone is talking about grandparents, and there's so many grandparents did this, grandparents did that, grandparents do this, that's neat that those are your best memories. I think that's kind of neat.
I think it's special. I think that it is for me. My best Christmas memories are with my both sides of grandparents.
Yeah. I mean, I have that one memory of our pajamas, but that's crazy. I never thought about that. Anyway, a lot of neat things that I'm reading here. We can't share all. I know.
It's really neat to be able to go back and read these later.
Mm-hmm. My grandfather over here on Facebook would always pretend to hear the noise of Santa landing on the roof. Yeah, we used to do that. I think now they have a channel that tracks Santa. You know about this?
Last night when I turned on the TV on Hulu, it was like Santa Tracker. Click here, and I was like, "Well, then we've upgraded like a lot." My grandparents used to drive me to the place in town that had the best Christmas lights. It was a gentleman named Dan Hopkins who would decorate his yard with like real stand-up characters and the Santa in the window. You could pick up the phone outside to talk to the Santa in the window, and he had Big Bird and Sesame Street and all these kids skating in the front yard, not real kids, stuffed ones.
Oh,
and
no.
Like eventually, and he had this like sleigh that went up to the radio tower in his backyard and like all this stuff. So like people from all over would come to see this guy's stuff. And that was our trip to see Santa.
Oh,
like that was
sweet.
That was it, you know. So that's also probably.
I'm reading here.
Number
it says,
2 in Christmas memories.
Jennifer says, my son is 12 and he's autistic. He loves slushies or she calls them slushes. I think we call them slushies here. And he loves them from anywhere. My neighbors bought him a slushy machine. Aww. Like they have at 7-Eleven. She goes, now she needs to invest in an ice machine.
Yeah, you do.
You ought to tell her what kind we have, because it is the best ice machine.
It is.
Wow. Did you hear about the lady that got a scratch off at a White Elephant gift and it was worth $175,000? What about that gift, Jamie?
Wow.
But no, I think it's just kind of sad that we don't have a whole lot of traditions with not a lot of things. But
you know what's funny though is like
as grandparents.
But as an adult, like as I got to be older, my traditions with my mom were still about with my grandparents, but it was like I was partnering with my mom to be a to make traditions.
So I just now had something come up in my mind. So something just appeared in here. Hear me out on this. Could it be that we remember our grandparents because those would be the ages that we were young enough? That's like just popped into my head. This never happens. Very rarely does something pop in my head, but we remember our grandparents because we would have been young enough to where Christmas was still magical.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be honest, are there ever holidays, Christmases especially, that you don't really feel like it's Christmas?
Yes.
Because even though we may have kids, maybe we as parents don't do as much to bring in that holiday magic
because we're living so stressed.
Because we're living so stressed.
We're making it so stressed.
And it's the grandparents that do more. And so that makes me wonder if I was to talk to my two kids, or you talk to your son, if some of their fondest memories would involve grandparents. And we're right here for Pete's sake. We're right here, you know? So that's kind of interesting. But grandparents get to a certain age, and then that's what they spend their time focusing on. Let's do all that we can
because
to enjoy
it's the fun. It's the sprinkle of magic and the day-to-day routine of parent, even visiting your grandparents on a non-holiday had more spirit and magic in it than it was of just your parents, and doing your mundane, like regular life stuff, I think. But
Kathy says, my biggest childhood Christmas memory was waking up, finding my grandparents in the living room, and finding out my sister was born earlier that Christmas morning. So I guess grandparents come over to babysit, and you had your midnight, had to run off to the hospital.
Wow.
Possibly. That would be a neat little memory. Yeah, lots of folks sharing their memories, and we appreciate that, y'all. Like I said, we always can't read everything that comes up right away, but everyone knows that Lester is a fool for reading, so I'll end up having an extra long bath tonight. And that's normally what happens when we have a live and there's some good comments I can read. But listen, I think that we've kept people probably long enough. You want to go ahead and start wrapping this thing up with anything you want to add or say? Or
honestly, it's 50 degrees outside for the first time in many days, and I am looking forward to getting some sunshine on my face while we do a little bit of cleanup and farm chores.
Hold on,
that sounds
I gotta
really
add this.
Boring for Christmas Day. What?
Sherry says that the reason we all remember grandparents is because they don't have discipline. They don't enforce discipline like parents do. That might be true. That might be true. We could be wild and crazy at our grandparents' house.
It's the fun stuff, and then when it gets to be great grandparents, it's even worse. Like, I couldn't eat in my grandparents' living room, and when Xander was a little kid, I would go to pick him up from there, and they would have a table and chairs that they built for him to be able to eat at in the living room.
Wow.
And we're like, sir, do you want anything else, Xander? All that. And I'm like, I didn't live that life.
No.
So, I think at the further that you get away from having all that in your life, I think the more magic you can put into this, and creates really special moments. And I'm blessed to be able to, lived a life with 4 grandparents, and Xander has grandparents and great grandparents and step grandparents and, a lot of influences. And I know that your kids do as well.
I know. And I'm not trying to discredit what you're saying, but I read that, and that is the funniest thing. Susan says, I remember the year we all got bikes for Christmas. Now, 3 big bicycles, she goes, 1 small and a tricycle. We heard all this hollering and cussing from our back porch as Santa put them together. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, and that's true. Jamie can vouch for that. I don't like having to put stuff together. I mean, number one, I have to be able to read fine print, and that means I got to find my glasses.
He has to follow directions. Let's be real here. It's about following directions and not just being able to go poof and it be done. So Lester would rather go look at 5 thrift stores for something that's put together than to order something he has to put together.
I'm finding the funniest comments here. Nikki says, that reminds me of my dad. Don't feed dogs at the table. Yet later, Dad makes the dogs their very own plates to eat with him at the table. That is so true. Isn't it how men are? My dad
Yes.
and that darn Heidi. I don't know why men can attach to a dog, Jamie. I mean, who does that? Yeah, I know. I know. I'm missing Maggie. I'm
Yeah.
missing Maggie. Oh, by the way, I forgot about this. But at 3 o'clock,
It's 3 o'clock now.
so right now on Facebook, and I think I did it at 5 o'clock on YouTube. I went back and I put a replay of one of our favorite Christmas videos, the real reason behind Christmas, but I did it using our farm animals.
Yes.
So this is a replay for you guys who follow the page for a while. But if you have kids or you really want to see a fun video, I cut
This
a bunch
is a
of out.
Lester Morrow production.
This
okay?
is a true Lester Morrow, I'm a Survivor Sanctuary production, and it is awesome. But we had a lot of fun. That was the year of the pandemic, and so there wasn't a whole lot of getting out, and so I was able to be a whole lot more creative in those days. Like my creative juices were flowing, and I had this fun idea. Jamie ordered us some costumes, and we did a recreation of our favorite Christmas story, the real reason behind Christmas, which is the birth of Jesus Christ. And except we used our farm animals. And then I have this friend of mine he's another YouTuber, and I don't want to give it all away. Y'all have to watch it though. It's going to be on
It's
both.
a great video.
It is a great video, and I hope you enjoy it.
It actually is the video where one of my most favorite selfies of us came from that I use in so many facets.
Yep. That's true.
It holds a lot of memories for sure. So I'm glad that you put that up.
You
That's
will.
really
Well, I
exciting.
went by, and the original was pretty long. It was lengthy. And so I know how busy we all are. So I went back last night and I cut a lot of, filler out of it. And so I gave you just mostly the gist, but you'll see a lot of our babies who are grown now in the video. You'll see some of our babies who used to be at I'm a Survivor, who are now at Longhorn Lester's, along with some beautiful Lester singing. Everyone loves when Lester sings. They do love when Jamie sings, and you get to hear Jamie sing in there. So it's kind of a musical Christmas story using I'm a Survivor animals, our babies from I'm a Survivor, who tell the story best. Okay. And I don't know how at church they make it look so good and so easy. The animals do exactly what they're supposed to do at the church production. And then I try to do it at I'm a Survivor, and it turns into a total disaster. But we used Brinley that year. Remember Brinley? Little Brinley, that's Jake's daughter.
Lex was in it.
Brinley, Lex, Ellie. It was a really neat production.
It was.
Lester, you and you're cutting stuff out. Carissa, I only do what I have to do I don't want to get into all that right now. We're going to let y'all go. And we're so blessed to spend time with you all today, especially for you guys who are by yourself. Don't think that you're alone. Don't ever think you're alone in anything. I know it's hard, y'all. It's hard being alone at Christmas, but there's a lot of folks who are also alone. So when we can all kind of come together like this and find little moments, then makes it not quite so tough, I think.
It's true. It's very true. So I hope that you enjoy the musical that you're about to witness and sing along, because it might help you get through some moments.
And then unfortunately, some of those songs will get stuck in your head. And so you're going to be humming those songs the rest of the day. And I hope you sound better than I do. All right, my friends, we love you guys, and thank y'all.
Merry Christmas to you and to yours, and stay safe, stay well, and stay warm. We know that the rest of the country is not over this yet, and there's a lot more to come. So we will talk to you all very soon. Have a blessed day.
Amen. All right, if you'll stop that one, I will try to come over here.